Your greatest progress comes on the days when you push yourself the hardest, even when you don't feel like it. If you can push yourself to work when you don't feel like it, nothing can stop you from reaching your dreams. Success is built on the days when you push through, even when every part of you wants to quit. There are days when everything feels like a struggle. You wake up tired, the tasks ahead seem overwhelming, and the last thing you want to do is get to work. We've all been there. On those days, it feels like every part of you is telling you to rest, to wait for a better time, or just to give up. But here's the truth. Those tough days are the ones that will define your success. In this video, we're going to explore exactly how you can push through those tough days and force yourself to work, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. We'll talk about why staying consistent when things get hard is crucial for your growth, and how you can turn even the toughest moments into a stepping stone toward your goals. So, if you're ready to learn how to keep working, even when everything inside you says no, stay tuned. What we're going to dive into could change the way you approach not just your work, but your entire mindset on success. Stick with me, and let's dive in. Number 1. Take small steps forward no matter how tough it gets. When you're in the middle of a challenging day, when everything feels like it's going wrong, it's easy to let yourself get overwhelmed. Maybe you're facing problems at work, personal challenges, or just the weight of all your responsibilities seems unbearable. It's in these moments when the thought of pushing forward feels like too much. But here's the thing. You don't have to make huge strides in a day. The key is to make progress, no matter how small. You see, success isn't just about the big victories. It's about the small steps you take every day, even when everything seems tough. You might not feel like it, but every small effort counts. When things get tough, it's easy to want to stop, take a break, or even give up. But I want to challenge you to do something different. Keep moving forward, even if it's just a tiny step. Taking small steps might not seem like much in the moment, but over time they add up. They build momentum. They help you grow in ways you never thought possible. Let me ask you this. How do you feel when you accomplish something, even if it's just a small task? Maybe you've had a long day, and at the end of it you've crossed one thing off your list. It doesn't seem like much at the time, right? But let me tell you something, that one small task is a victory. And every victory, no matter how small, builds your confidence. It reminds you that you're capable of more than you give yourself credit for. You might not feel like you've moved mountains, but taking that one small step forward means you haven't let the mountain defeat you. In fact, those small steps are often the ones that lead to the greatest results. Think about it for a second. If you wait for motivation to strike, if you wait for the perfect time to take action, you'll end up waiting forever. Motivation doesn't always come when you need it most, but discipline does. And discipline isn't about waiting for the perfect moment to take action. It's about doing something, no matter how small, because you know it matters. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. One of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting to do everything at once. They think they need to tackle their entire to-do list or solve all their problems in one go. When that doesn't happen, they get discouraged and end up doing nothing at all. But that's not how progress works. Progress is built on consistent action. It's the small steps you take every day that lead to bigger accomplishments. When you focus on just moving forward, even if it's just a tiny bit, you'll be amazed at how much you can achieve over time. Sometimes you won't even realize how much you've accomplished until you look back. You might feel like you're stuck, or that you're not getting anywhere. But if you look at the small steps you've been taking day after day, you'll start to see the progress you've made. It's in the small wins, the ones that seem insignificant at the time, that you'll find the strength to keep going. Those small wins add up, and they'll fuel your determination to keep moving forward no matter what. When you're facing a tough day, don't focus on the mountain ahead. Instead, focus on the next step. That's all you need to do. Take one small action. Do one thing that moves you closer to your goal. You don't need to do it all in one day. You just need to take one step at a time. And when you do that, you'll find that you're more capable than you thought. I want you to understand that every small step you take is a victory. Even when you don't feel like it, even when the weight of the world is on your shoulders, every action you take matters. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to accomplish everything at once. All you need to do is keep moving forward. That's the secret to success. Keep moving. Keep pushing. Keep taking small steps. In those moments when you feel like giving up, remember that taking small steps is all you need to do. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about making progress no matter how small it might seem. Each time you push yourself, each time you choose to move forward, you're strengthening your resolve. You're proving to yourself that you can keep going, no matter how tough things get. Now I know it's not always easy. On the tough days when everything feels like it's falling apart, it's hard to stay motivated. But let me tell you something. It's in those moments when you feel the least like working that your true strength is revealed. When you choose to keep going, even when it's difficult, you build resilience. You build the kind of character that doesn't quit, no matter how tough things get. So when you're faced with a challenge, don't let it stop you. Don't let the difficulty of the task ahead discourage you. Instead, break it down into smaller, manageable steps. Focus on one thing at a time. Take small, consistent actions, and over time you'll see the results. The journey may not always be easy, but every step you take will bring you closer to where you want to be. You see, it's not about waiting for the right moment. It's not about waiting for things to be perfect. It's about taking action now, no matter how small, even on the days when you feel like you can't go on. Remember that progress is made in small steps. It's in those small steps that you build the momentum to keep going. And when you look back, you'll see how far you've come. One of the most important things you can do for yourself is to develop the habit of taking small steps forward, no matter how tough things get. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that you need to make big changes or accomplish huge things, but real progress is made through consistent small actions. Each step may not feel like much, but when you keep going, you'll realize that you're building something powerful. You're building your future, one small step at a time. So the next time you find yourself struggling, when you feel like everything is too much to handle, remind yourself that you don't have to do it all at once. All you need to do is take that first small step, and then take another, and another. Don't stop moving forward. Keep taking those small steps, and you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. Number 2, commit to your goals even when motivation fades. There will be days when the fire that once motivated you feels like it's burned out. Maybe you wake up, and the drive you once had isn't there. You don't feel inspired to push yourself. You don't feel like taking action. It's easy to let those moments define your day, to let the lack of motivation decide whether or not you'll continue working toward your goals. But here's something important to understand. Commitment is not dependent on motivation. It is something deeper. It's a decision to keep going even when motivation fades. Motivation is a great thing when it's there. It's the fuel that helps you take off, but it doesn't last. It comes and goes. There will be days when you have it, and days when you don't. So what do you do when it's gone? What do you do when you've got no motivation left, but your goals are still waiting for you? This is where commitment comes into play. Commitment isn't about feeling motivated. It's about deciding that your goals matter, no matter what. Think about a time when you made a promise to yourself. Maybe it was a personal goal or something you wanted to achieve for your family. That promise you made wasn't dependent on how you felt. You didn't say, "I'll do this only if I feel like it." No, you said, "I will do this because it matters." That's what commitment is. It's the decision to keep going even when things get hard, even when your motivation fades away. Commitment means you show up even when it's hard. It means you keep putting in the effort, even when the initial excitement has worn off. In fact, it's on the days when motivation is gone that commitment becomes even more important. These are the days when you prove to yourself that your goals are worth pursuing. When you're not feeling motivated, but you still make the decision to take action, you're proving to yourself that you are stronger than your emotions. You're proving that you have the discipline to keep moving forward. It's easy to stay committed when things are going well. When you're feeling inspired, when everything is falling into place, it's easy to stay the course. But life doesn't work like that. Challenges will come. The path will get difficult. There will be obstacles. And that's when most people give up. They stop. They let their lack of motivation dictate their actions. But not you. Because you've made a commitment. You've decided that no matter what, you will continue to move forward. There will be times when you're working towards your goal and things get tough. Maybe you're not seeing the results you expected, or maybe the process is taking longer than you thought. In these moments, it's tempting to quit. It's tempting to give up and tell yourself that maybe you weren't cut out for this. But here's what you need to remember. Success isn't about avoiding those tough moments. Success is about pushing through them. It's about staying committed to your goals, even when it feels like everything is against you. Commitment means that you don't stop just because things get difficult. You keep going. You take one more step. You push through the frustration. You continue putting in the work even when the results aren't immediate. Because you understand that success doesn't come overnight. It's the product of consistent effort, even when you don't feel like it. It's the little things you do every day, even when your motivation is gone, that build up over time to create big results. There's something powerful about showing up every day, even when it's hard. The act of continuing to work toward your goal, even when you don't feel motivated, creates momentum. It builds discipline, and discipline is what allows you to keep moving forward, no matter what. When you commit to something, you don't rely on feelings or motivation to guide you. You rely on your decision to keep going. If you've ever been through a challenging time, you know that it's often the most difficult moments that teach you the most. It's easy to think that success is only for the people who have everything figured out, the ones who are always motivated and inspired. But that's not the case. Success is for the people who keep going, even when things get hard. It's for the people who don't quit, even when they don't feel like it. So when your motivation fades, ask yourself this: what is it that I'm committed to? What are the reasons I set this goal in the first place? When you reconnect with your why, it becomes easier to stay on track. Your commitment will carry you through the times when motivation is nowhere to be found. Remember that your commitment is stronger than your emotions. It's stronger than any fleeting feeling of doubt or discouragement. Your commitment is what will keep you going when everything else tells you to stop. Commitment is also about trust. It's about trusting the process and trusting yourself. You may not see the results right away, but you know that every small effort you put in is moving you closer to your goal. Trust the journey, even when the path is tough. Trust that every step you take, even when it feels like it's not enough, is part of the bigger picture. When you commit to something, you are choosing to be responsible for your own success. You are taking ownership of your dreams and your future. No one else is going to do the work for you. No one else is going to push you when you don't feel like it. That's your responsibility. And that's a powerful thing to realize. When you take full responsibility for your success, you empower yourself to keep going, even when things aren't easy. There's a difference between being interested in something and being committed to it. When you're interested, you'll work on it when it's easy. But when you're committed, you'll keep working on it when it's hard. You'll keep moving forward when you don't feel like it. You'll show up even when you're tired, frustrated, or discouraged. That's the power of commitment. It's not about how you feel in the moment. It's about the decision you make to stay the course no matter what. So I want you to think about your goals. What are the things that matter most to you? What are the things that you've promised yourself you would achieve? Now ask yourself this: are you committed to those goals, or are you just interested in them? Are you willing to show up every day, even when motivation fades? Are you willing to keep going, even when it feels tough? That's what true commitment is all about. Number 3. Prioritize action over feelings on challenging days. There are days when you wake up and the weight of the world seems to sit on your shoulders. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you feel defeated or discouraged. Whatever the reason, you don't feel like getting out of bed. You don't feel like pushing forward. It's easy to let those feelings control your actions. It's tempting to let your emotions dictate whether or not you'll show up that day. But here's a truth you need to understand. Action has to come first, even before feelings. When you allow your feelings to dictate your actions, you're putting your success in the hands of something unstable. Feelings are temporary. They come and go. One day you feel motivated, and the next day you feel like giving up. But action is something you can control. When you focus on taking the next step, even if you don't feel like it, You're taking control of the situation. Action is what moves you forward. It's what gets you closer to your goals. Feelings might influence your state of mind, but they should never be the driving force behind your success. If you rely on your feelings to push you to work, you will be stuck in a cycle of inaction. But when you prioritize action, you create momentum, and that momentum will carry you through even the toughest days. Think about the times when you didn't feel like doing something, but you did it anyway. Maybe it was going to the gym, working on a project, or even doing something as simple as getting out of bed when you felt overwhelmed. You didn't feel motivated, but you did it. And when you finished, didn't you feel better? Didn't you feel a sense of accomplishment? That's the power of action. It's the thing that gets you out of the rut and moving forward, even when you don't feel like it. The truth is, your feelings are often misleading. On challenging days, your mind might try to tell you that you're too tired, too overwhelmed, or not good enough to continue. But you can't trust your feelings alone. If you listen to those thoughts and feelings, you'll never make progress. The key is to act anyway. Push yourself to take that first step, even when every part of you wants to quit. Because when you start moving, even if it's just a small step, something powerful happens. Your feelings begin to shift. When you act, you prove to yourself that you're capable. You prove that you have the strength to keep going, no matter what your feelings might be telling you. This is where true progress happens. When you put action ahead of feelings and start taking the steps that will lead to your success. The more you do this, the more you'll realize that feelings aren't as powerful as we sometimes think. Your actions are what create the results you're looking for. If you wait for the perfect moment when you feel fully motivated, you'll be waiting forever. Perfection doesn't exist, and motivation isn't always reliable. Some days you'll feel on top of the world, but other days you'll feel like you can't go on. And that's okay. The key is to keep moving forward, regardless of how you feel. If you can make the decision to prioritize action over feelings, you'll build a habit of showing up, even when it's hard. This habit will serve you on both the easy days and the tough days. Every time you prioritize action over feelings, you're building your discipline. You're showing yourself that you can keep going even when it feels difficult. This is where growth happens. It doesn't happen in the moments when you're comfortable or when everything is going smoothly. Growth happens when you step outside of your comfort zone and choose to act, even when you don't feel like it. Think about your future self. Where do you want to be in a year, 2 years, 5 years? Every day you're making choices that either take you closer to that vision or pull you further away from it. If you let your feelings dictate your actions, you'll miss opportunities. You'll put off the things that matter most, and eventually you'll find yourself stuck in the same place you started. But if you choose to act, even when it's difficult, you'll make progress. You'll build the life you want, step by step. Action doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be grand. It just needs to be taken. You don't need to wait for motivation to strike or for things to line up perfectly. What you need is the determination to take action no matter what. This could be as simple as writing one sentence toward a goal, taking one small step, or making one phone call. These small actions accumulate over time and lead to big results. You can't control everything in life, but you can control your actions. When you prioritize action over feelings, you take back control of your life. You stop letting your emotions rule you, and instead, you choose to make progress, even when it's hard. And that's when you become unstoppable. That's when you start seeing results. On the tough days, remind yourself that it's okay to not feel 100%. It's okay to be tired, frustrated, or discouraged. But don't let those feelings stop you from doing what needs to be done. Don't let them hold you back from moving forward. The more you practice prioritizing action, the easier it will become. You'll start to recognize that your feelings don't define your progress. Your actions do. It's easy to stay motivated when things are going well, but true success is about showing up when things aren't easy. It's about pushing through the tough moments, even when you don't feel like it. Every time you take action, you're sending a message to yourself that you are committed. You are serious about your goals. You are willing to do whatever it takes to make them happen, no matter how challenging the journey gets. When you prioritize action over feelings, you create momentum. And once that momentum starts building, it becomes easier to keep going. It's the small actions that lead to big change. It's the decision to act even when you don't feel like it. That sets successful people apart from those who never make progress. It's the habit of showing up, day in and day out, no matter what. Number 4. Ignore the excuses and focus on your mission. Excuses are a powerful force. They come in many forms, and they often sound so convincing. They're the little voices in your head telling you that today's not the day, that you're too tired, or that it's too late to start now. They make you feel justified in putting things off, in letting your dreams slide to the side. But here's the truth. Excuses will never move you closer to your goals. They'll only hold you back, keep you stuck in the same place, and rob you of your potential. If you want to succeed, you must make a choice. You have to choose your mission over your excuses. Because every time you listen to an excuse, you're telling yourself that your goals don't matter enough to push through. You're telling yourself that your success isn't worth the effort. But when you ignore those excuses and keep focusing on your mission, you're telling yourself that you believe in your future and that you're committed to doing whatever it takes to make it happen. We all face challenges. We all go through difficult times. And we all have moments when it feels like the odds are stacked against us. But those moments are not the time to give up. They're the time to double down. They're the moments that define who we are. It's easy to make excuses when things aren't going well, when you feel overwhelmed or discouraged. But true success isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about taking action in the face of adversity, even when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing through, even when it's tough. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent or luck. It's the ability to push past the excuses and focus on the mission. It's the willingness to do what needs to be done, regardless of how hard it gets. So when those excuses come up, and they will, remember that they are just distractions. They're the mind's way of keeping you safe, of keeping you comfortable. But comfort is not where growth happens. Growth happens when you step outside of your comfort zone. When you make the choice to take action, even when it's hard. Start by being honest with yourself. When an excuse pops into your mind, take a moment to recognize it for what it is, a story you're telling yourself to justify inaction. The truth is, there's always something you can do. You might not feel like it, but there's always a way to keep moving forward. Maybe it's a small step. Maybe it's just a little bit of progress. But as long as you keep moving, you're winning. Every time you ignore an excuse, you're building discipline. Every time you push through, you're strengthening your resolve. Your mission should be bigger than any excuse that comes your way. Your goals should matter more to you than the fleeting comfort that excuses offer. When you commit to your mission, you stop seeing obstacles as reasons to quit. Instead, you see them as opportunities to grow. Every challenge, every setback, every tough day is a chance for you to prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you think. And every time you choose to focus on your mission, rather than the excuse, you're reinforcing your commitment to success. Remember, the journey to success is not always smooth. It's filled with bumps, turns, and unexpected challenges. But those challenges are what make the journey worth it. They're what turn the process into growth. Every successful person you admire has faced obstacles, has had reasons to quit, has been tempted to make excuses. But the ones who succeed are the ones who chose to push past those excuses, to keep going when things got tough. They chose their mission over their doubts, their fears, and their excuses. Think about your long-term vision. What do you want to accomplish in the next 5 years, 10 years, or even longer? Now think about how many times you've let excuses hold you back in the past. Every time you let an excuse stop you, you're delaying your future. You're putting off your dreams. The longer you let excuses dictate your actions, the further you push your goals into the distance. But if you make the decision right now to commit to your mission, regardless of the obstacles, you'll start closing that gap. You'll start moving toward your goals, and the excuses won't have the power to stop you. Focus on the bigger picture. Look at your mission and let it inspire you. When you remind yourself of why you're doing this, the excuses start to fade. You remember that your success isn't just about you. It's about the impact you want to have on the world. It's about the people you want to help, the life you want to create, and the legacy you want to leave behind. When you connect with your mission on a deeper level, the excuses lose their power. They no longer seem important, because your focus is on something much bigger than temporary discomfort. Here's the hard truth. No one is coming to rescue you. Your dreams won't just happen on their own. It's easy to sit back and hope that things will change, but that's not how success works. Success is earned through action, through consistency, and through refusing to let excuses stand in your way. When you get to the end of your life, you'll either be proud of what you accomplished, or regret the chances you didn't take. The choice is yours. Every time you push through an excuse, you build confidence in yourself. You show yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. And the more you do this, the more resilient you become. You start to trust yourself more, and that trust becomes the foundation for your success. You can't succeed if you don't trust yourself to show up, even when it's hard. But when you push past the excuses and focus on your mission, you're proving that you're someone who can be trusted to do what needs to be done. One of the most powerful things you can do for your success is to surround yourself with reminders of your mission. Whether it's a vision board, a journal, or a daily affirmation, make sure you're constantly reminded of what you're working toward. When you're focused on your mission, excuses won't have the same impact. They'll be just fleeting thoughts that you brush off as you keep your eyes on the prize. The clearer your vision, the easier it becomes to ignore the distractions and stay focused on what matters. Let's talk about the results. When you choose your mission over excuses, you start to see progress. Even on the tough days, when you feel like giving up, you'll look back and see that you've moved forward. You'll have tangible proof of your efforts, and that's the motivation you need to keep going. Every little victory is a building block for bigger victories to come. The more you push through, the more you accomplish, and the more confidence you gain in your ability to achieve anything you set your mind to. Here's the thing. Life doesn't care about your excuses. The world doesn't stop for you to get over your doubts, fears, or fatigue. If you want to succeed, you have to show up regardless of the excuses. You have to be relentless in your pursuit of your goals. You can't let anything get in the way of what you've committed to achieving. When you ignore the excuses and focus on your mission, you align your actions with your deepest desires. You become unstoppable. Remember, no one else can do the work for you. It's up to you to take responsibility for your success. It's up to you to take the next step, even when it's hard. Every time you choose your mission over your excuses, you're taking ownership of your future. And that's where real power lies. Number 5. Rise above the struggle and choose to act. The struggle is inevitable. There's no escaping it. It comes to everyone. No matter where they are in life, the world will test you, challenge you, and make you question if you're on the right path. It doesn't matter how much you've achieved, how hard you've worked, or how far you've come. The struggle is part of the journey. It's something that every person, every successful person, has had to face. But here's the difference between those who rise and those who fall. The people who rise above the struggle are the ones who choose to act. They don't let the challenges define them. They don't let the difficulties of life stop them from taking the next step. Instead of sitting in the struggle, letting it overwhelm them, they decide to move forward. They decide to act, even when everything within them is screaming to stop. If you want to succeed, you need to rise above the struggle and choose to act, regardless of how heavy the weight feels. It's easy to get stuck in the struggle. It's easy to look at all the obstacles in front of you and think that it's not worth it. It's easy to feel like quitting is the only option. But that's not the way forward. That's not how you move closer to your goals. The struggle is not your enemy. The struggle is your opportunity to prove yourself. It's the test that separates those who are willing to fight from those who aren't. When you rise above the struggle and choose to act, you show the world and yourself that you're not going to back down. You show that you're in this for the long haul, and that no challenge, no matter how tough, is going to stop you from achieving what you've set out to do. Rising above the struggle doesn't mean ignoring it. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine when it's not. It means choosing to take action in spite of the struggle. It means acknowledging that things aren't easy, but deciding that you're going to move forward anyway. It means embracing the discomfort and using it as fuel to drive you forward. When you feel overwhelmed, when you feel like you're at your breaking point, that's when you need to act the most. It's in those moments that your true character is revealed. It's easy to act when everything is going smoothly. But the real test comes when you face adversity, when you feel like you've hit a wall, when you feel like you can't go any further. That's when you have to rise above and choose to act anyway. Action is the antidote to overwhelm. It's the key to pushing through the tough times. When you take action, even if it's just one small step forward, you begin to regain control. You remind yourself that you are in charge of your destiny. You remind yourself that you have the power to keep going, no matter what's happening around you. Choosing to act is not always easy. Sometimes, it's the hardest thing you'll do, but it's also the most important thing you can do. When you rise above the struggle and choose to act, you move closer to your goals. You build resilience. You build strength. You build the mindset of someone who is determined to succeed. No matter what, there will always be days when it feels like everything is falling apart. You'll face setbacks. You'll experience disappointment. You'll feel discouraged. But those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days that define your future. How you respond to those moments will determine the course of your life. You can choose to stay stuck in the struggle, letting it consume you and hold you back. Or you can choose to rise above it. You can choose to act, to take that first step, even when it feels impossible. Every time you choose to act, you're proving to yourself that you're not a victim of your circumstances. You're proving that you are stronger than the challenges you face. You're proving that you have the courage to keep moving forward, even when it feels like the world is trying to push you down. There is power in action. Action creates momentum. Action builds confidence. Action moves you closer to the person you want to become. And the best part is, you don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to know exactly how everything will play out. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take action, step by step, no matter how small, and trust that you're on the right path. Every action you take, no matter how insignificant it may seem in the moment, is a victory. Every time you choose to rise above the struggle, to keep going when it's hard, you're making progress. You're moving toward your goals. And over time, those small steps add up. They compound. They lead you to places you never thought possible. One of the most important things you can do is to be consistent. Even on the toughest days, keep taking action. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when you're tired, frustrated, or unsure. Consistency is the key to success. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, day after day, and doing the work, no matter what. When you stay consistent, you create a habit of success. You teach yourself that success doesn't happen overnight. It happens one small step at a time. If you want to rise above the struggle and choose to act, you need to be clear about your goals. When the going gets tough, it's easy to lose sight of why you started in the first place. It's easy to forget your purpose and get lost in the chaos. But when you're clear on your goals, when you're connected to your mission, it becomes much easier to push through the hard days. You can always come back to your why. When things feel difficult, you can remind yourself of what you're working toward and why it matters. Don't let the struggle define you. Let it strengthen you. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow. Every obstacle you encounter is a chance to prove to yourself that you're capable of overcoming anything. The struggle is part of the process. It's a necessary step on the way to your success. But you can't let it stop you. You have to rise above it every single time and choose to act. When you choose to act, you take control of your life. You stop waiting for things to get better or for circumstances to change. You stop letting fear or doubt dictate your actions. You decide that your goals are worth fighting for, no matter how hard it gets. You decide that you are stronger than any struggle, and you will not let anything stand in your way. Number 6. Train your mind to perform despite the hardships. Training your mind to perform despite the hardships is one of the most important steps toward achieving success. It is easy to get distracted by the difficulties life throws at us. It is easy to think that the obstacles are too big, the burden too heavy, or the challenge too great. But let me tell you, your ability to perform despite hardships, your ability to push through those moments of doubt, exhaustion, and frustration will determine whether you rise to the top or fall behind. The truth is, no one is immune to hardship. Every successful person, Every person who has accomplished something meaningful has faced their own battles. It's not the struggle that defines them, but their ability to keep going in spite of it. If you want to succeed, if you want to make something of yourself, you must train your mind to perform, to keep going, to keep pushing. No matter how hard things get, your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It shapes your thoughts, determines your actions, and ultimately directs the course of your life. If your mind is weak, if you let the challenges and hardships break you down, then that's exactly what will happen. But if you train your mind to stay focused, to remain disciplined, and to keep performing even when it feels impossible, you will find that there is nothing you cannot overcome. It starts with the understanding that hardships are not a reason to stop, they are a reason to keep going. When things get tough, your first reaction may be to want to quit, to run away from the discomfort, but that is the very moment you need to push the hardest. Your mind will try to convince you to give up. It will try to tell you that the situation is hopeless, that you don't have what it takes, but you must train your mind to ignore that voice and push forward anyway. You see, your mind is like a muscle. Just as you train your body to get stronger, you must train your mind to handle stress, to overcome adversity, and to perform despite the hardships. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that requires consistent effort, practice, and discipline. But the more you train your mind, the stronger it will become, and the more you will be able to handle the challenges life throws at you. Start by developing the habit of pushing through discomfort. When things get tough, don't allow yourself to stop. Instead, keep going, even if it's just a small step. If you can do this consistently, you will build resilience. You will build the ability to face adversity without backing down. The more you push through, the stronger your mental muscles will become. Another key aspect of training your mind is learning how to control your thoughts. When you face hardships, it's easy to start thinking negative thoughts. You may start telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you're not strong enough, or that you'll never be able to get through this. These thoughts are dangerous because they become self-fulfilling prophecies. The more you believe them, the more likely you are to give up, to let the hardships defeat you. Instead, train yourself to focus on positive, empowering thoughts. Remind yourself of your strengths. Remind yourself of the hard work you've already put in. Remind yourself that you've overcome challenges before, and you can do it again. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you believe you can't do something, you won't. But if you believe you can, if you train your mind to see possibilities instead of limitations, you will find a way through. Visualization is another powerful tool for training your mind. When you're facing a difficult situation, take a moment to close your eyes and picture yourself succeeding. Visualize yourself pushing through the hardship and coming out stronger on the other side. See yourself performing at your best, despite the challenges. The more vividly you can imagine your success, the more likely you are to make it happen. Your mind is incredibly powerful, and by visualizing success, you condition your brain to focus on achieving it. You must also be willing to embrace discomfort. Too many people try to avoid pain or difficulty. They see hardships as something to run from, but if you want to train your mind to perform, you must understand that discomfort is a necessary part of growth. It's when you face the hardest challenges, when you push yourself through the most difficult situations, that you grow the most. Your mind learns how to cope with stress, how to remain focused, and how to keep going, no matter how tough things get. In order to train your mind, you need to develop mental toughness. This is the ability to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. It's the ability to remain calm in the face of chaos, to stay focused on your goals even when distractions and obstacles are everywhere. Mental toughness doesn't come easily, but it's something you can develop with time. Start by putting yourself in situations that challenge you. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations where you have to fight through difficulties. Each time you do this, you strengthen your mental toughness, and you'll find that you're able to handle bigger challenges with ease. Focus is another key element in training your mind. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. The moment things get difficult, it's easy to lose focus and get sidetracked. But if you want to perform despite hardships, you must train yourself to stay focused on your goal. When things get tough, remember why you started in the first place. Keep your eyes on the prize. Focus on the bigger picture. And don't let the temporary discomforts distract you. The more focused you are, the easier it will be to push through the hard days. Another important aspect of training your mind is practicing gratitude. When you're facing hardship, it's easy to focus on what's wrong. It's easy to complain about the situation and feel sorry for yourself. But gratitude shifts your perspective. It helps you see the positives, even in the midst of difficulty. When you practice gratitude, you train your mind to look for the good, to find the silver lining, even when everything feels hard. This mindset shift will help you keep going when things get tough. Ultimately, training your mind to perform despite hardships is about developing resilience. It's about learning to handle stress, overcome challenges, and keep moving forward, even when things seem impossible. The more you train your mind, the more you'll discover that there is nothing you can't handle. Every challenge, every setback, every hardship is an opportunity for growth. By training your mind to push through, you'll become a stronger, more resilient person. You'll be able to face anything life throws at you and still come out on top. Number 7. Find strength in persistence during your toughest moments. Finding strength in persistence during your toughest moments is an essential mindset to cultivate when facing adversity. Life, by its very nature, brings challenges that feel insurmountable. These are the moments when everything within you wants to quit. Your energy is drained, your willpower is tested, and the pressure feels like it's too much to bear. Yet this is where persistence becomes your most powerful ally. Persistence is not about pushing forward blindly, without direction, or forcing yourself to do things that aren't aligned with your goals. It's about the will to keep going, to continue taking action, even when every ounce of your being is telling you to stop. It's the decision to refuse to let obstacles define you or hold you back from your potential. The toughest moments are often when the greatest transformation happens. These moments can break you, or they can strengthen you. How you respond to adversity defines your character. If you choose to persist, you will emerge not only having overcome the challenge, but having grown stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The secret to success lies in the willingness to keep moving forward, even when the road seems impossible. The human spirit has incredible resilience, but it requires cultivation. We often don't realize how much strength we have within us until we are forced to tap into it. When everything seems to be falling apart, when your world feels like it's crumbling, persistence is the force that can carry you through. It's not about having all the answers or being the smartest person in the room. It's about showing up, day after day, even when you feel like there's nothing left to give. You have to understand that the toughest moments are not the times to retreat or give up. They are the times to dig deeper. They are the times to find that inner strength that has been quietly waiting for you to discover it. Persistence isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate through your actions. Every time you face a challenge and decide to keep going, even when it's hard, you're strengthening your persistence muscle. Over time, it becomes easier to push through the difficulties because you've practiced it so many times. In every challenge, there are opportunities for growth, but to see these opportunities, you have to be persistent in your pursuit of solutions. It's about staying focused on the goal, regardless of the setbacks. When you persist, you're telling yourself and the world that you will not be defeated. That message becomes louder and clearer with each passing day, and the more you persist, the more success you will inevitably experience. A key part of persistence is the willingness to embrace discomfort. It's easy to get comfortable when things are going well, when success seems to be coming effortlessly, but true growth happens when things get difficult, when the obstacles appear insurmountable and the pressure feels overwhelming. That's when you need to persist the most. It's about learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's about pushing through the discomfort and taking action, even when it seems easier to quit. One of the greatest challenges is learning to trust in the process, especially when results aren't immediate. Persistence requires patience. It's tempting to quit when you don't see instant progress. The world tells you that you need quick results, that if you're not seeing success right away, you're failing. But the truth is, success is a marathon, not a sprint. The people who achieve the greatest success are often the ones who endured the most struggles, the ones who kept going even when they couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Persistence allows you to trust that the effort you're putting in today will eventually pay off. During tough times, many of us feel like we're alone in our struggles. We might look at other people's success and think, they've got it easy, or I'll never make it like they have. But let me tell you, everyone faces hardships. Every successful person has faced their own version of adversity. They were able to keep going not because they were immune to hardship, but because they refused to let it stop them. They found strength and persistence, and that's what made all the difference. When you persist through hard times, you also learn how to manage your emotions. It's easy to let frustration, anger, and fear take control when things are difficult, but those emotions are often the enemy of progress. They cloud your judgment and make it harder to stay focused on your goals. Persistence means managing your emotions, not allowing them to control you. It means choosing to act, even when you feel overwhelmed, tired, or discouraged. It's important to acknowledge the struggles, but don't let them define you. Don't allow the difficulties to convince you that you're incapable. Instead, use the challenges as fuel to persist. Every obstacle is a lesson waiting to be learned. The more you persist, the more you understand what works, what doesn't, and how to adjust your approach. Success isn't about never failing. It's about learning from failure and continuing to push forward. One of the most powerful aspects of persistence is the impact it has on others. When you push through adversity, when you refuse to give up, you inspire those around you. People watch and they take note of how you handle tough times. They see your strength, your resolve, and they are motivated to do the same. Your persistence becomes a beacon of hope, showing others that they too can overcome their challenges. Sometimes the hardest thing is taking that first step, especially when the end goal feels far out of reach. But here's the thing, the first step is often the most crucial one. Once you start moving forward, no matter how small the step, momentum begins to build. Persistence isn't about making giant leaps every day. It's about making consistent progress. No matter how small, every step forward is a victory, and every step makes the next one easier. During your toughest moments, you have to remind yourself of your purpose. When things get hard, it's easy to lose sight of why you started in the first place. But your purpose is what will keep you going. When you are persistent in staying true to your mission, even when times are tough, you align your actions with your values and your deeper motivations. This creates an unshakable foundation, one that can withstand any storm. When you find strength and persistence, you also unlock your potential. You'll find that you are capable of so much more than you ever realized. The challenges you face today will be the very things that shape you into a stronger, more capable person tomorrow. Persistence is the key that unlocks that potential. It's the difference between staying stuck in a cycle of frustration and achieving the success you desire.
Number 8. Develop daily habits that drive progress through adversity. Developing daily habits that drive progress through adversity is one of the most powerful ways to maintain forward momentum. Even when life gets difficult, the truth is, you cannot control everything that happens to you. You can't always control the circumstances, the challenges, or the obstacles that come your way, but you can control your daily actions. You can control the habits you build, and these habits are the foundation of long-term success. When you develop the right habits, they become your guide and support system, especially during tough times. There is a reason why habits are often referred to as the building blocks of success. They determine the course of your life, whether you realize it or not. The way you structure your day, the choices you make, and the small actions you take consistently all contribute to your ability to navigate adversity. It's not always about making big changes or taking huge leaps. Sometimes, it's the small daily habits that make the biggest difference. When life is tough, when challenges feel overwhelming, having a set of positive, goal-oriented habits becomes your anchor. These habits provide structure, focus, and direction when everything else seems chaotic. Without them, it's easy to get lost in the emotions of frustration, fear, and doubt. But with the right habits in place, you can stay on track, no matter what life throws at you. It all starts with understanding that success is not something that happens overnight. It's a product of the consistent small actions you take each and every day, and those actions come from the habits you build. Think about it. When you develop habits that promote your well-being, growth, and progress,
you're giving yourself the best chance to succeed in the long run, especially when times get hard. One of the first steps in developing these habits is defining what matters most to you. What do you want to achieve? What goals do you have? Without clarity about your purpose, it's difficult to create habits that align with your vision. So take the time to sit down and figure out what you really want. Once you have that clarity, it becomes easier to determine which daily habits will support that vision. Whether it's waking up early, exercising, reading, or planning your day in advance, every habit should be directly tied to your goals. Once you've defined your goals, it's time to commit to the daily habits that will drive progress toward them. This is where the discipline comes in. It's not always easy to stick to your habits, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed or exhausted. But remember, it's in these moments that your habits are most important. When everything seems to be falling apart, when motivation is at an all-time low, your daily habits will be the anchor that keeps you grounded and moving forward. Take the time to build habits that are practical and sustainable. Start small. It's easy to get excited and try to implement too many habits at once, but this often leads to burnout. Focus on a few key habits that align with your goals and commit to them each day. If you want to exercise, start with 15 minutes a day. If you want to improve your focus, practice mindfulness for 10 minutes. The key is consistency. It's better to take small actions every day than to do nothing at all. These small actions compound over time, leading to significant progress. Another powerful habit to develop is the habit of planning. Every successful person has a plan, and this is true even when things aren't going as planned. Life will always throw curveballs, but having a plan in place gives you the ability to stay on course despite the obstacles. Take a few minutes each day to plan your day. Write down your priorities, set your intentions, and focus on the actions that will move you closer to your goals. This habit of planning is critical for progress, especially when things get tough. When you make planning a daily habit, you give yourself a clear direction. You don't waste time trying to figure out what to do next, because you've already laid out a path for yourself. This structure is especially important in times of adversity, when decisions need to be made quickly and efficiently. The more you plan, the more prepared you become for the unexpected. Another key habit to cultivate is gratitude. Gratitude might seem like a soft skill, but it's incredibly powerful. When you're facing tough times, it's easy to focus on what's going wrong. However, shifting your mindset to gratitude helps you see the good even in difficult circumstances. By practicing gratitude every day, you train your brain to find opportunities, even in challenges. This helps you stay positive and motivated, even when progress feels slow. Gratitude helps you reframe your struggles. It reminds you that even in adversity, there are lessons to be learned, growth to be gained, and opportunities to rise above the situation. By developing the habit of practicing gratitude, you shift your perspective and strengthen your ability to push through difficult times. It doesn't mean ignoring the difficulties. It means choosing to focus on what you can learn from them and how you can grow stronger through them. The habit of perseverance is also critical in pushing through adversity. Perseverance doesn't mean forcing yourself to keep going when your body or mind needs rest. It means not giving up when things don't go your way, not allowing setbacks to stop you from pursuing your goals. Developing this habit requires a shift in mindset. Instead of viewing obstacles as roadblocks, you learn to see them as challenges to overcome. You develop a determination to keep going, no matter how tough the journey may get. One habit that supports perseverance is the habit of tracking progress. This is crucial because it helps you stay motivated when things feel like they're moving too slowly. When you can see even the smallest wins, it builds momentum. Whether it's through journaling, checking off tasks, or tracking habits, seeing progress, no matter how small, helps you stay focused and motivated. The simple act of recording your efforts can reignite your drive when motivation starts to fade. Additionally, it's essential to develop the habit of self-care. Adversity takes a toll on your mental, physical, and emotional well-being, so it's crucial to prioritize your health. Build habits that support your energy and focus, such as eating well, getting enough sleep, and making time for activities that recharge you.
Taking care of yourself ensures that you have the stamina to keep going, even during the toughest moments. When things get difficult, it's easy to put yourself last. You might feel like you don't have time to focus on your well-being, especially when you're working toward big goals. But neglecting your health only makes it harder to stay resilient. By developing habits that support your physical and mental health, you ensure that you have the energy and clarity to push through adversity. Finally, understand that habits take time to form. It's not realistic to expect immediate results. It takes consistent effort, day in and day out, to build lasting habits that drive progress. Be patient with yourself, and remember that growth is a process. Even when progress feels slow or invisible, know that the actions you're taking today will pay off in the long run. As you develop these habits, remember that they're not just about achieving success. They're about building character. They're about becoming the kind of person who shows up every day, who persists despite the challenges, and who continues to grow no matter what life throws at them. Developing daily habits that drive progress through adversity is a process of becoming the best version of yourself.
Number 9. Refuse to quit, even when everything feels impossible. There will be moments in your life when everything seems impossible. You'll face challenges that make you question your strength, your will, and whether the effort is worth it. The obstacles might seem insurmountable, and your goals might feel like distant dreams. But the one thing you must remember, especially in those moments, is this: you are not defined by how hard the road is, but by how fiercely you refuse to quit. You see, it's easy to keep going when things are smooth, when progress comes quickly, when the steps are clear, and when everything falls into place. It's easy to stay motivated, but that is not where real growth happens. The real test comes when things get tough, when everything you're working for feels just out of reach, and when failure seems imminent. This is when the power of refusing to quit truly matters. When you're staring at the face of adversity, you might feel like giving up is the only option. Your body might be tired, your mind might be drained, and your spirit might be close to breaking. But in these moments, what sets successful people apart from everyone else is the decision to keep going, to push through the pain, to find a way to move forward, no matter how small the step. The truth is that the road to success is not a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, and roadblocks. No one who has achieved greatness has done so without facing moments where giving up seemed like the easiest choice. But those who refuse to quit, who decide that no matter how tough things get, they will keep going, they are the ones who eventually reach the finish line. Let me be clear. There will be times when you will feel like quitting is the only logical choice. The weight of your failures might seem overwhelming, and the effort you've put in may feel wasted. The frustration can make you question everything. But this is when you must dig deep. When you refuse to quit, even when everything feels impossible, you tap into an incredible well of resilience that can carry you through any difficulty. Refusing to quit is not about ignoring the reality of your circumstances. It's not about pretending that things are fine when they're not. It's about acknowledging the difficulty and deciding that despite the odds you will continue forward. It's about choosing to take one more step, even when you feel like you can't take another. You might not see the results you want immediately, and that's okay. Success is a long-term game, and sometimes it takes time for your efforts to pay off. But if you quit, you rob yourself of the opportunity to see how far you can go. Every time you choose to continue, you are one step closer to overcoming the challenges in front of you. It's essential to understand that refusing to quit doesn't mean you have to have all the answers. You don't need to have everything figured out. The key is to continue trying, to keep searching for solutions, to refuse to give in to defeat. When things seem impossible, this is when you build the most strength. Each moment of struggle is an opportunity for growth. Every setback is a lesson in perseverance. Think about some of the most successful people you admire. I guarantee they faced moments where they thought about quitting. Whether it's in their business, personal life, or career, they've all had times when things seemed hopeless. But what they did differently was to refuse to quit. They kept going, even when they couldn't see the end of the road, even when the odds were stacked against them. The power to refuse to quit comes from within. It's a mindset, a choice you make in the face of difficulty. It's easy to quit when things aren't going your way,
But that's not the path to success. Success is built on resilience. And resilience comes from the decision to keep going, even when it seems like the world is telling you to stop. One of the most important things you can do when everything feels impossible is to break down your goals into smaller, more manageable pieces. Often the reason we want to quit is that the task ahead of us feels too overwhelming. But when you focus on taking small, consistent steps, the journey becomes more manageable. You don't need to achieve everything at once. All you need to do is commit to moving forward, one small step at a time. When you focus on the small steps, you also build momentum. Momentum is powerful because it creates a sense of progress, even when the bigger picture seems daunting. Each time you make progress, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you can keep going. This belief in yourself is what will ultimately carry you through the toughest times. There's also something incredibly empowering about knowing that you have the ability to push through the hardest of times. Every time you refuse to quit, you gain confidence in your ability to handle challenges. You begin to realize that you are stronger than you thought, that you can handle more than you believed, and that no matter what happens, you can face adversity head on. When you choose to refuse to quit, you also choose to trust yourself. You trust that no matter what obstacles come your way, you will find a way to keep moving forward. You trust that even when things don't go as planned, you are capable of adjusting, adapting, and continuing on your path. This trust in yourself is what allows you to stay grounded, even when everything feels like it's falling apart. At the same time, you must recognize that persistence is a skill that must be developed. It's not always easy to keep going, and there will be moments where you feel defeated. But the key is to keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Persistence is not about never feeling doubt, fear, or frustration. It's about continuing to take action despite those feelings. The more you practice persistence, the stronger it becomes. Refusing to quit also means being kind to yourself along the way. The journey won't always be perfect. There will be days when you make mistakes, when you fall short, or when you feel like you're not making progress. This is normal. What's important is that you don't let those setbacks define you. You learn from them, adjust your approach, and keep moving forward. You may also need to build a support system. When things seem impossible, having people around you who believe in you and support your journey can make all the difference. Surround yourself with those who will lift you up, who will remind you of your strength, and who will encourage you to keep going. Having this support network helps you stay grounded and focused when the road gets tough. Above all, understand that refusing to quit is not just about getting through the tough moments. It's about transforming the way you approach life. It's about developing a mindset that says, no matter what happens, I will find a way to make it through. This mindset becomes your foundation, your strength, and your guide when the road gets tough. Refusing to quit means that you no longer view obstacles as roadblocks. Instead, you view them as challenges to overcome. You understand that each setback is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. When you refuse to quit, you refuse to be defeated by circumstances. You take control of your future and your destiny.
Number 10. Stay disciplined and work harder when the going gets tough. It seems like when things are going well, it's easy to feel motivated and excited to work hard. But what happens when everything starts to fall apart? What do you do when things aren't going according to plan? What do you do when you're exhausted, frustrated, and feel like giving up? It's in those moments when your discipline will define your success. Staying disciplined and working harder when the going gets tough is what separates those who succeed from those who quit. The truth is, everyone faces challenges. Everyone goes through tough times. But what defines you during those times is how you respond. Do you back down and let the obstacles defeat you? Or do you dig deeper, push through, and keep moving forward? The choice is always yours. There's a big difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. One day you wake up feeling inspired to take on the world, and the next day you barely want to get out of bed. Motivation can be sparked by a video, a book, or a conversation, but it can easily fade. Discipline, on the other hand, is constant. Discipline doesn't care about your mood or how you feel. Discipline is the decision to keep showing up, day after day, no matter what. You have to develop the mindset that when the going gets tough, you don't just keep going, you go harder. When everyone else is slowing down, that's when you speed up. When the challenges are at their peak, that's when you rise to meet them. That's what discipline looks like. That's how you outlast everyone else. It's easy to stay disciplined when things are easy. When your path is clear and everything is going smoothly, it's simple to follow through. But the real test of your character comes when the obstacles appear, when the road gets rough, and when you feel like everything is against you. That's when you must force yourself to stay disciplined. Think about the days when you feel like you have nothing left to give. Your energy is drained. Your mind is clouded with doubt, and your body is telling you to stop. In those moments, it's easy to give in. It's easy to let your feelings take control. But the greatest successes are not achieved when you're feeling good. They're achieved when you push forward despite how you feel. Discipline is what allows you to keep moving when everything inside of you is telling you to stop. It's the strength to keep working when you'd rather be doing anything else. It's choosing action over feelings. It's the ability to get up, show up, and do the work, even when it feels impossible. Discipline is the fuel that keeps you going when the fire of motivation burns out. Now you might be thinking, how do I stay disciplined when I don't feel like it? How do I keep going when I'm exhausted? The first step is to make discipline a habit. Discipline isn't something you tap into when you need it most. It's something you build up over time, every single day. It's the small decisions you make consistently that create momentum. It's the commitment you make to yourself, to your goals, and to your future that keeps you going no matter what. The second step is to change your mindset. Instead of thinking of discipline as something you have to force yourself to do, start seeing it as something you get to do. Think about the people who are counting on you. Think about the impact your work can have, not just on your life, but on others. Discipline isn't just about doing something you don't want to do. It's about staying committed to your vision, to your purpose, and to your dreams. One of the keys to staying disciplined is to break down the big goals into smaller, more manageable tasks. When you're looking at the entire mountain, it can seem overwhelming. You may feel like you'll never reach the top, so why even bother? But when you break it down, when you focus on taking small steps every single day, the mountain becomes less intimidating. You realize that as long as you keep moving, you'll eventually reach the summit. It's about keeping your eyes on the small wins, not just the final goal. Celebrate the little victories. Every step forward is progress, and those small steps lead to big results. But here's the truth. There are going to be days when you feel like giving up. There will be days when you want to quit, when you question whether it's worth it. And on those days you have to remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place. You have to remember your vision, your dreams, and the bigger picture. You're not working for today, you're working for tomorrow. You're working for the future that you want to create. The days that are the toughest are the ones that shape you the most. The days you feel like quitting are the ones that challenge you to grow. Now this doesn't mean you won't struggle. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. But what it does mean is that you have the power to keep going, even when you feel like you can't. It means that no matter how tough things get, you don't let those challenges stop you. Instead, you use them as fuel to work harder, to push further, and to grow stronger. The path to success is not linear. There will be ups and downs, but it's how you handle the downs that define your journey. Staying disciplined is about showing up, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, and even when you don't feel like it. It's about knowing that the struggle is temporary, but the results are permanent. And here's the most important thing to remember. Discipline doesn't come from external motivation. It comes from within. It comes from the decision you make every single day to keep going, no matter how you feel. It's about building the mental toughness to do what needs to be done, even when it's not easy. When you cultivate this kind of discipline, it becomes a part of who you are. It becomes second nature. So when the going gets tough, when you feel like you have nothing left to give, remember this is the moment that matters. This is the moment that will define whether you succeed or give up. Keep going. Work harder. Stay disciplined. The tougher it gets, the stronger you become. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about refusing to quit, no matter what. When you stay disciplined and work harder in those tough moments, you'll be amazed at the strength you build. You'll see results that will make every struggle worth it. The power to succeed is within you. All you have to do is keep going.